Hi there, welcome to the Podcast Sponsor Podcast, the weekly podcast about podcast sponsors. So let's get right into it.
This week's show was brought to you by Squarespace. Are you an actor who really needs a website no one's gonna visit? Looking to make a website about weird fetish porn like putting your dick in mashed potatoes or eating pudding real slow? Squarespace or Wix, who gives a shit?
You know, when I think of websites, I think of grocery shopping.
For sure.
Which brings us to our next sponsor. This week's episode is also brought to you by Fresh Direct. Are you too lazy to get into your car and drive to the grocery store? Do you love taking time off of work to wait around your apartment for 6 hours to get rotten produce brought to your door? Nothing says fresh like groceries being delivered to you in a hot truck. Fresh Direct.
You know, when I think of hot trucks, I think of visiting Louisiana in the swamp. And nothing says swamp butt like just bad underwear. You know what's good underwear? MeUndies. MeUndies. You undies, we're all undies. MeUndies.com.
That's a hot take on MeUndies. But you know, when I think of underwear, I immediately think of mass emails.
Yes.
Which brings us to our next sponsor. Also this week, sponsor of this episode is MailChimp. MailChimp. Hey, do you want to send an email to someone who probably doesn't want to read your email and who will probably unsubscribe immediately? MailChimp. Mail for assholes.
You know, when I think of assholes, I think of ears, because the ear is the asshole of the head. And folks, when you think of ears, you think of Audible.com. Do you not know how to fucking read? Do you not get that part of school where they taught you to fucking read? Audible.com.
You know, when I think of Audible.com and audiobooks, it reminds me of our next sponsor. And we just want to let you know that the mid portion of this show is brought to you by 1-800-Flowers. Why buy deli flowers for cheap when you can order them for 4 times the price and wait 1 to 2 days for delivery? That's a great business model. 1-800-Flowers or ProFlowers. Who gives a shit?
You know, when I think of flowers, I think of dirt. And what comes from dirt is food. And when I think of food, I think of your next sponsor, Blue Apron. Are you such a dumbass that you can't read a cookbook or just figure out how to make meals? Here you go, you dumb shits. We're going to lay everything out for you so you don't screw it up, you big dumb fucks. Blue Apron.
You know, when I think of Blue Apron, I think of blue ducks. And when I think of blue ducks, I think about blue dogs. You know that famous paintings that you see all over New Orleans?
Yeah, the blue dog painting.
Yeah. Which immediately makes me hungry and want some snacks.
Of course.
Which brings us to our next sponsor. This week's episode is being brought to you by Nature Box. Love shitty snacks? Can't find another place to find shitty snacks? Because, let's face it, the snack industry is disappearing. I mean, there's nowhere to get snacks, no bodegas, no stores, no stands. So just wait at home and twiddle your dumbass thumbs for some shitty snacks. Nature Box.
You know, when I think of snacks, I think of laying in bed. And this next sponsor of the show is Casper Mattress. Want to show your friends that you listen to podcasts and you were convinced to buy a mattress on one? Casper Mattress.
Or Lisa, who gives a shit?
Ooh, who gives a shit?
But I just a fair warning, those mattresses are flammable.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I had a friend that leaned one up against a halogen lamp and caught fire, and he put it out immediately with some water, but it turned out the fire was still going on inside. It was smoldering, and he had all these toxic chemicals in the air of his apartment, but buy a Casper mattress. I'm sure they're very comfortable.
Yeah, spend 8 to 10 hours a night on a smoldering piece of crap. Good on you.
Yeah, but if you don't like it, good luck sending it back. Because those things expand.
Yeah, that's a lot of postage.
Good luck trying to fit it back into that tiny-ass box that they send it to you.
No fucking way that's happening.
Good luck, Buster.
And speaking of things happening, when I think of happenings, I think of the 70s and 60s. And when I think of the 60s and 70s, I think of Star Wars. And when I think of Star Wars, I think of Loot Crate. Don't have enough stupid shit? Are you a nerd and do you also collect nerdy things like figurines and stickers and other stupid shit? We'll send you a random box of stupid shit. You might hate it, but guess what? You signed up for this monthly service. Loot Crate. You signed up for it, you big dumb fuck.
You know what? When I think of Loot Crate, I think of pirates.
Yeah.
When I think of pirates, I think of the Caribbean.
I see that connection.
Yeah. And then I put the two together and I think of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
And then I think of Disney.
Uh-huh.
And then I think of drawings.
I'm on board.
And then I think of all those wonderful drawings that we've seen on stamps in our lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, which brings us to a sponsor for the tail end of this episode, which is Stamps.com. A great place to buy stamps for all those letters you're writing. Not Stamps.com. Well, guys, it looks like we're running out of time. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week to the podcast sponsor, Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
But before we go, we'd like to thank our last sponsor, Pepsi, the Woke Cola.